So has Biden cratered to a new low? Can he even win the election? And is Trump going to win in a massive landslide? Well, that's what it looks like following the debate. We have a lot to get into, so let's get right into it. For expediency, I have filled out the safe states. As you can see, it's a little bit different than normal. Biden at 100, Trump to 235. I have Texas, Florida, North Carolina, Ohio, and Iowa all going safe for Trump for the first time. All of these are due to trends based on my model that I have put together here. I think Trump's going to overall shift from 2020 about 9 points on average, with him winning the popular vote by 4.5 points. Most of the polling data we saw from 2020 and from 2016 has underestimated Trump. And not only that, Trump has been doing so much better in polling this time around. And we're still in June. We're still far out. Well, it's July now, but we're still far out from the election. We've still got 100 something days. So I do think all of these states will be going safe for Trump. Hispanic trends in states like Texas and Florida have a really big impact. Iowa and Ohio were both states that were nearly safe in 2020. They both went 8+ points for Trump. Assuming we have a 9 point swing, I do think both of these states could be almost at 15 points for Trump in this cycle. And Florida, Texas, I both see over 10 to 12 points. North Carolina, just over 10. So they're all going to be safe states. Now, to get into the likely states, start out, we have Nevada. I think Nevada will be likely, and I'm also going to put Arizona in the likely category as of now. I'm open to changing that to potentially safe if we see trends continue. We're seeing from polling data, Arizona's going 4.9 right now based on polling for Trump, and Nevada 3.7. Again, I think with the higher Hispanic populations, these two states could have a higher shift than even 9 points overall. I would say it's possible these could both become safe states if it continues. Right now, I don't think they're safe. I still think they're likely. And Biden really just doesn't have a chance in either of these states. The next three states that will go for Trump in a likely margin will be the three Rust Belt states of Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. These three states all voted for Biden in 2020. However, in 2016, Trump ended up winning all of them as well. Very tight. Biden barely won Wisconsin. Pennsylvania, he just barely won. Michigan, he did a little bit better. But polling data in the state does show both Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, all three of them, Trump's leading in all of them. All of the polls massively overestimated Biden in 2020. And again, if we're looking at this model, there's a lot more white voters here. There's less of the Hispanics. So that doesn't necessarily help Trump as much, but I still see all of these states shifting by probably 8 to 9 points to the right, which, if they do, puts them all into the likely category. And there it is right there. Trump's won the election already, 296 to 100. We haven't even filled out the rest of the map, and Trump's won. That's how bad it is for Biden. He has completely collapsed post debate. And yeah, they might be talking about, oh, maybe we'll replace him. Maybe, oh, Michelle Obama, or what, are you going to put Clinton in again, or Gavin Newsom? You really think any of those people are going to be able to beat Trump at this point? First of all, Michelle Obama, no chance. Kamala Harris, if she were to take over, is even less likely to win, I'd say, than Biden. And most people are still saying Biden's going to stick with it. He's still going to run. There's no evidence to say that he's actually going to drop out. And for them, that's pretty bad. Either way, they are screwed, and this is a landslide for Trump. Sure, things could change coming closer to the election. We're still 127 days out, but I don't see it happening. I just don't see a possible path for the Democrats to win. Following that, we have the state of Georgia, another state that Biden won in 2020, barely won it. It was so close. Polling in the state, again, is showing that Trump's leading by 6.4, which that alone puts it into a likely category. But again, if the trends are going to continue, just ignoring polling as a whole, I think it's safe to say this state will be close to almost 10 points for Trump. Right now, I'm thinking around 8 or 9 points. There's a pretty big black vote in the state of Georgia, and with black voters trending to the right, if we look at the swingometer here from the Cook Political Report, Georgia goes 9.8 points for Trump, assuming Hispanics vote 45 for Biden, and then black voters shift even just 10 points to the right to 18 points from 8 in 2020. That is huge. That right there puts Georgia at 9.8. And Hell, you could even make a case for it being safe at this point. Right now, I'm not going to. I'm going to keep it in the likely category. But it really could at this point go safe. That's just how bad Biden's doing. Now, that's all of the likely states for Trump. We'll fill out the few that Biden has. We have Washington, Oregon, we have Illinois, and then we have New York. These are the four states that Biden will win in a likely margin. We look at each of these states: 19 points for Biden, 16 points, 17 points, and 23. Again, assuming trends, assuming about a 9-point swing, we would see Washington sink to about maybe a 10-point margin. So maybe it's still safe, maybe a bit below. I think it'll be a little lower. Oregon, if it went 16, we'll say it's probably going to be around 7 points, 7 or 8. Illinois as well, it went 17 points. I think it'll go about 8 or 9 points for Biden. Now, New York's a little bit different. Yes, it went 23 points, but pulling out of the state has showed it a lot closer than people have originally thought. Trump's done some rallies there. He was stuck there for a while with his bullcrap sham of a court case, which, again, that only helped him as well. Pretty much everything they do to Trump just helps him at this point. So I encourage them to keep up what they're doing, because it's just making it that much easier for Trump to run away with this election in an insane landslide. And really, it's going to be a glorious sight to witness. Now, again, I think New York will probably go about 8 or 9 points for Biden. I could be wrong. It could be a little bit more. Now, I have finally Colorado, New Mexico, Minnesota, Virginia, New Jersey, and New Hampshire. All states Biden won in 2020. There's also Nebraska second and Maine at large. All of these went for Biden in 2020. However, not all of them are going to this cycle. Now, I'm just going to fill out everything left for Biden, what he will get, and then I'll go in depth on the last few states that I think Trump's going to win. Now, Colorado is a state that I think Biden will still win in a lean margin. He did win by 13 points, 13.5 points in 2020. 2016, Clinton only won by 4.9. I think it'll be a little closer to that margin. I'm thinking around 3-ish points, somewhere in that range, assuming the trends and my model is correct, which I do believe it is. And then lastly, New Jersey, I think, will also go in a lean category. I'd say around 2 to 3 points. Trump was doing well there. There's got to be some reason he was doing rallies there. He was doing some campaigning in the state. We saw a recent poll that actually had Trump ahead, and the state only voted 16 points for Biden. I do think this could be around 3 or 4 points realistically. I don't think Trump's going to win it as of now, obviously, but I do think it's a possible state, something that could be in play for him in the future. And I think it's potentially a swing state in the next 10 to 15 years. Now, lastly, we have all of the remaining states. Trump's going to win all of these. Margins will vary depending on each state, but we'll start with Minnesota. Minnesota, I do see Trump winning it this cycle. There's been lots of data to show Trump is going to win. I've seen a bunch of polls that show he's close in the state. Biden won the state by 7.1. Again, my model is predicting about a 9-point swing. Minnesota, if it swings that way, will go about 2 points for Trump. Again, the state hasn't voted for a Republican in a very long time, if you look back. Since 1972. It's been a very long time since a Republican has won the state. But I think Trump's going to buck that trend and finally win it. We also have New Hampshire. I do think New Hampshire will ultimately flip, just based on switching the demographics of Hispanics and African Americans alone. The state goes to 0.7 for Biden. That's not including my model. I think if you look back at 2020, you can see the state only went 7.4 for Biden. 2016, Trump nearly won the state. Now, I know the state could potentially be out of play. I could be wrong on this, but I think just over a point, Trump's going to win New Hampshire. We also have Nebraska second. Trump, I think, will win that one as well in a lean margin. And then lastly, we have New Mexico and Virginia. New Mexico, originally, I wasn't thinking was going to be a state that would be in play. Was pretty sure Biden was going to win it. If you look back at 2020, Biden won it by 10.8 and 8.2 for Clinton. But If we look at the demographic swing alone, just Hispanic and African American shifts, Trump wins it by 0.4. So I don't think this is a state that Biden's going to win right now. Yes, he could still win. I could be wrong. It's so close that it's hard to say for certain. But I do think it's going to go for Trump. And I think the same for Virginia. Another interesting flip. Trump seems to be doing pretty well in suburbs. There's a good amount of a black vote there. There's a lot of polling that shows the state's really close. And this is post-trial verdict. And again, we have to consider there was the debate that did not go well for Biden. So that's going to have an impact on all of these trends as we get more data coming out. I just don't see Biden gaining anymore. In fact, I don't think he can go up at all. I think Trump can only go up from where he is. And then lastly, Maine at large, I do think Trump will pull this one off ever so slightly. The state as a whole, 9.1 for Biden in 2020, 2016, 2.9 for Clinton. But I've again seen a few polls that show that the state's closer. And lastly, if my model's correct, the state will be in a tilt margin either way. So there's the final result. And the final prediction, 347 to 191. That's the final margin. Trump winning the popular vote anywhere from 4 to 5 points. This is going to be a huge election. This is going to be a big result. I do see a massive landslide right here for Trump. I just don't think Biden has a chance after the debate following his awful performance. They don't want someone who they know is barely there. He's completely out of it. So, let me know down in the comments what you think, who you think will win the election, what you think about my prediction, if there's anything you would change. I love to hear from you guys, and that's all for now.